The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Earnestly Speaking podcast. He's back after what, a few months now. The Degenerate himself, America's favorite gambling degenerate, Zachary, is here with us.
Man, I feel like you fired me because I quit the dog track.
No,
That's how long it's been.
well, a little behind the curtain here. Like, we've been trying to get a podcast done with me, you, and Zack and Chris, and the schedules just haven't linked up. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. We got to get one of you guys in here. So I was available tonight. You know, my wife's doing a little girls' night. So I'm like, you know what? Got a couple hours here to shoot the shit. My boy Zack. There's no NBA games on tonight. Officially, no more late game. And by the way, finally, as of tonight until October, no more late game NBA games. I can get sleep again.
Oh, I know. The NBA's got to stop in on that.
What could you do though? The West Coast is that, you know.
You have a separate network, right? You have your own network. How about use that as the startup to lead into a game? You cannot have people staying up till 12:30, 1 o'clock every night on the East Coast.
At least in the playoffs, though. At least in the playoffs. I can understand during the year you have is what it is, time zones, that kind of whole thing. I get that.
Especially not on a weekend. Not when you have Saturday and Sunday games. I'm sorry, you just cannot be doing that.
It's a little East Coast bias there a little bit. I get it. I mean, we're both on the floor on the east, on the very, very far east of the time zone. I get all that, but you know, the thing is, Zach, like for me, like I never complain about the time stuff because it never bothered me before in the past. Now that I'm unfortunately my mid-40s now, I have a wife and 2 kids. You know, I have a job I go to early in the morning. You know, it wears on you a little bit now when you have to stay up until 1 in the morning to watch these games, and I do it, but not without a fight.
I wake up 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning. It is brutal.
Yeah. I'm not that early, but I'm close to it. I'm about 6 or 7 o'clock. I go out, work out for a little bit, and then I take it to school. So, but hey, it is what it is. Not complaining about the time, because I'm sure that we'll talk about that. I you know, the title of this podcast today is the Golden State Dynasty over? Because last night the Lakers did it in 6, demolished the Warriors by 21 points to close out that series. A lot of questions, you know, and I'll say for the record, a lot of teams in these playoffs have many questions to answer once this year is over. One of the themes I've said coming to these playoffs is that this playoffs is about windows. Many of these elite teams, these playoff teams, we don't know how long the window's going to be. There's teams that windows could be ending this year, could be maybe a year, 2 years. And there's a lot more teams that have small windows to be getting credit for. Let's start the first one here, the most obvious one, the Warriors, the defending champions, as of until last night. A lot of questions to be answered on Golden State. Where do you stand on the Warriors now? What's the future looking at, you think?
Well, it goes all the way back to the trade deadline.
Yeah.
The fact they gave up all of that size. The moment they did that, they were saying, okay, we're playing Kuminga, Looney, and Green at center against Jokic, Ayton, AD, at the time, Steven Adams for Memphis. There were just so many bigs in the Western Conference, and they were going to try and go and play against them all with no size. So I start with that missed trade.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a terrible trade.
So you're referring to the James Wiseman trade?
Yes. But then, with having the Draymond Poole incident to start the season, I thought the season was pretty much over if they kept them together.
You don't think that was a little over talked about, that whole thing? I mean, it happened literally like 8 months ago. Like, Do you think they moved on from that?
Well, you got to think about how would the season have started out if that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
Would they have been winning on the road instead of having one of the worst road records in history for an NBA champ?
I mean, maybe.
So
I mean, it's the science. I'll say this much: if you believe that whole thing played into what became a team that struggled to get to the playoffs, let's keep real. They were a 6 seed, but that was up in the air until the last couple of days of the season. Okay, they were almost a play-in team. And then they get by Sacramento in 7, and of course they lose the Lakers in 6.
yeah,
If you believe that those signs between the punch that happened with Draymond and Poole and before the season started, which turned to the road woes, of course.
I think
The
that
signs
led
are
to the
there.
whole struggle out the gate, where Curry was having to do everything just to keep the team afloat,
Yeah.
while Klay Thompson couldn't find the basket, because up until January, he, honest to God, could not score. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was a real struggle for the team out the gate, and then you make a trade when you're seeing which teams you might have to face off in the playoffs, and you're thinking 6'8", 6'9" against agile, athletic centers that are 7 foot tall. You just had no size down low.
I think that the logic there for the Warriors is probably that, okay, so the only center we're probably going to face in the playoffs at the time that trade happened, it was a January, I think it was, early February, was probably Nikola Jokic in Denver. Because I don't think maybe they thought the Lakers would be a factor in the
What?
playoffs until after the fact.
Golden State couldn't do anything in Memphis. Why? Because they couldn't play down low. And that was when Adams was still healthy.
Right.
When you lose your two centers, it's real hard to play against AD and LeBron and that size. So you have to think about it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
How far would the Lakers be getting if they weren't playing against the two smallest teams in the playoffs?
This is true. They caught a break. They caught in terms of matches. The Lakers caught a break, definitely. But now the Warriors. Okay, look, this team's won 4 titles in 8 years. Well, 9 years now with this loss this year. Lots of questions. Draymond Green can opt out his contract. He has said today on record on this podcast that he wants to remain in Warriors his career. He has no interest in leaving the team.
Then he must be playing on the final year of his career, because he has to opt in. I can't imagine anyone's gonna give him a 30 million a year contract.
So he's due this year, next year, if he opts in, $27 million, $27.5 million. Okay. If he opts in. It's a player option, obviously. I mean, look, the Warriors have easily the biggest payroll in the history of basketball. So a lot of questions being made to answer there. I think another question being answered is Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson filing his contract next year, due $43 million. Didn't play well down the stretch. He actually played well as the season went on, and then down the stretch was inconsistent as hell. And this series with Lakers, he couldn't find a shot.
Yeah.
What was game 6 Klay? What was game 6 Klay yesterday? I mean, that is it time now for the Warriors to maybe consider moving him now, given the fact that he would be an expiring deal next year, actually, too. Also, on top of that,
Yeah, he would be attractive. And I thought that was the point of signing Jordan Poole, was
yeah.
you were replacing Klay Thompson as the scorer.
Except Jordan Poole was worse than he was in the series.
Yeah. And he chose not to even try on defense.
Oh, he was horrific. And it makes you wonder if the punch that happened before the year started, like, more people are siding with Draymond now on that, based on how Poole played this down the stretch here.
Well, I think when Draymond punched him, it punked him on his team, and it punked him in the league.
Yeah.
So anybody playing defense against him can rough him up, because they know they know that Poole's not going to retaliate. So
yeah,
I think all of his confidence gone. Any swag he has, it's gone, and I don't know if it could come back.
So I'm looking at the payroll right now. So, you know, if you, I mean, the Warriors could hypothetically run this back one more year.
Yeah,
They really could.
if Draymond and DaVincio opt in, they're with
Di, Di,
tax, they're at
DiVincenzo,
457. Yeah,
DiVincenzo, right? Yeah. So DiVincenzo has a player option 4.7. He may opt out of that contract though. He
yeah,
may have a market for somewhere else.
yeah, for 3 for 30.
Yeah, that's still more than
Absolutely,
you know.
absolutely.
A lot of questions to be answered here. And I know ownership's been very much open to paying, and they have no problem going well into luxury tax. But the new CBA is making it hard for teams like Golden State, for example, to continue doing this.
Yeah, I think they can't go more than 5 years out with their draft picks.
Yeah.
They're limited on the amount of an exception they can now give to a veteran minimum. So
So I guess the first question I'm gonna ask you is this then. With Klay Thompson, do you foresee a future if you're the Warriors ownership? He's due $43 million this next year. Then he's a free agent. Do you give him an extension, or do you shop him around, or do you wait out the season and see what happens and maybe test the market? Maybe he'll test the market next year, the year after next, and see where
if
his value is.
if I am the GM of Golden State, I find any way in the world that someone will take his contract and somehow lighten my tax burden all the way around.
So you're basically saying it's time to split the Splash Brothers.
If I am the GM of Golden State, I'm getting a burner phone and I'm putting out statements that I'm hearing that teams are willing to offer Draymond Green $90 million over 3 years. Like, I would be putting out stuff to make it sound like Draymond has a market so that he opts out and I find a market for Clay, and then I can be saved and start rebuilding my team while Curry is still great.
Curry is the only guy in this. I think we all agree that Curry is the only guy on this roster that's untouchable.
You can't trade Curry. Now if Curry decides he wants to leave, then you trade him.
Yeah.
But I still continue to try and build around him.
So you say if you're Suns ownership, Suns front office, you shop Clay. It's time.
If I'm Golden State's, yeah.
So you're saying that Draymond has more value than Clay does right now at this point?
No, I'm saying I don't want either guy on my payroll starting next season.
Oh, you're saying you want both those guys gone?
Yeah, I
Ooh.
would be putting out talk to Ian Rappaport or whoever.
Not
To Stephen A.
It'd be NBA, but probably
Yeah.
who would it be? Would it be like Chris Haynes or who's the NBA guys? JJ Redick, Kendrick Perkins, maybe.
I'd be putting it out that hey, I'm hearing organizations are thinking of offering Draymond $30 million a year over 3 years. Something big so that they're like Draymond thinks, hey, I can leave $27 million on the table and go somewhere.
He may still opt out. He may opt out.
I don't think he's that dumb. I don't think he thinks he can get a big contract again. And say he finishes this contract, well, then he can re-sign for like 5-10 million. And you know what? That's like going anywhere for 2 for 40 and still being on a championship winning team.
Is Jordan Poole the worst contract right now in the league?
Oh God, no.
It could potentially be if this continues next year.
Are you serious? It's 30 million a year
For a guy that averaged 5 points in the series, who's supposed to be your 6-man, if you will call it.
You know who's making twice that amount?
Yeah.
And can't even get a team into the play-in tournament?
Who's that?
Bradley Beal.
Okay.
That's the worst contract in all of basketball. Like,
and we argued this actually on the podcast back, last year. Remember that?
yeah, you know how owners in the NFL are upset at Haslam for giving Deshaun Watson that contract, this is more embarrassing to give a guy of Bills talent who's not even top 25 $60 million a year at the end. Like, that is the worst contract in the league, and you destroyed your franchise for another 5 years down the road.
Well, I mean, I see what you're saying there. I just think that you have another 4 years of Poole's contract or 3 years of Poole's contract, 30 million plus each year. In
Yeah.
addition to what you have to do with Clay and Draymond, they got a lot of questions to answer.
Well, I'll give you a team who would be more than happy to take a flyer on Jordan Poole's contract. Houston, because they've already gotten screwed with their last two first round draft picks. They're terrible at scoring. They're shooting field goal range mid 35s.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, they can't score.
They got cap room, don't they?
Oh, they got a ton of cap room.
And they get they'll we'll find out in a week or two, but the Wembanyama sweepstakes, if they get number one pick.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah,
I don't believe Jordan Poole's contract is anywhere near that untradeable.
But it's Zach, it's amazing though how like perspective is always reality. If the Warriors were continuing winning, if they're going to the conference finals and the Lakers are now, these numbers, no one cares. Oh, we're still winning.
Oh,
it's so amazing how like you lose in the second round of playoffs right next year to win the championship. That, oh my god, these are bad contracts now. Holy crap!
No, see, here's the thing: these are all bad contracts, and it doesn't matter if they were to win the finals. All right.
Oh, okay.
We had this discussion going into this last season, and I talked about how if they brought everyone back, their payroll was going to be almost $400 million.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be almost $500 million. 457, and that's without signing any veterans to fill the holes on the roster.
I think it's more likely that they run this back one more year.
God bless that ownership then.
Nothing they can do about that. I mean, unless Draymond. People keep saying about Draymond leaving and stuff, and I think I'm kind of with you, to be honest with you, that there's a strong chance he may re-up another year and try to see if he can get a smaller extension with Golden State. No, 2-3 years extension.
So you keep asking about that. You think they can? Will they rerun it? How many other owners could even financially afford this?
None.
Their fans.
But all the penalties involved, no. But
yeah.
But Zach, they already committed to this though. They committed to doing this for the last couple of years.
Yeah, and eventually everything stops. Eventually there is that cliff where one by one they have to go. So that's why I'm saying I don't see how they can run it back.
So you're saying that it's time to put Clay on the market. It's time to hopefully let Draymond opt out his contract and don't touch him.
They built the CBA to penalize the Warriors specifically. Yes.
So I've been saying the theme of this postseason is windows.
The window isn't closed. It's who you fill around Steph that matters.
Who can you get that's like a Clay that can, reset the clock? The only player I can see that the Warriors getting that has similar better with Clay, but a lot younger is someone like Jaylen Brown, for example.
Oh, you can't do that. He's up for a 5-year, $290 million.
And the only reason you even consider getting Jaylen Brown is because he's younger than Klay Thompson.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why you go into that hole.
The only way you do that is if you have Draymond leaving, or you can also trade Poole's contract, because they have a specific point now in the CBA. They can't even take more than 110% of the money back.
Wow.
Contract. So,
which means you're going to see more parity in this league, even more, which is good for the league. To be honest with you, I think it's good for the league. If you're a fan of the league as a whole, and you like seeing competition, this is great for the league. Obviously, I agree.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of big market teams, aka New York Knicks, aka Boston Celtics, aka Golden State Warriors, obviously Lakers as well too, this is not good news. So whatever you have now, if you're the Lakers, if you're the Warriors, if you have the roster to win now, you better get in while you can, because another year or two, good luck. And this is where coaching is a thing. This is where coaching becomes a major thing now. Because if you're committing to two maxes, which is the next topic here, the Phoenix Suns, who they also knocked out the playoffs in the second round by Denver in 6 games on Thursday night. They have similar issues too.
Absolutely.
I would argue just as dire, really, think about it. Well, let's start here first, though, Zach, with the Suns. Do you consider this season a failure? And I'll respond to your thing after.
Yeah, because you have what should be 3 basketball savants who could not figure out how to play on the floor together and incorporate their teammates to have a championship team.
By the third one, you mean Ayton or Paul?
You have Paul, Durant, and Booker.
Okay.
They could not figure out how to deal with people's attitudes and people's talents to still advance the team. And then once Paul went down, that was it. I mean, I think Kevin Durant was leading in minutes per game in the playoffs. That's how short their team was once Chris Paul went down.
Yeah.
And I feel bad, but I think he's got 1 year left.
Chris Paul?
Yeah.
If that. Some people say he's done now.
You're
being
so away.
Well, we'll get to that in a second, because his contract is a little more complicated. I disagree with you on the failure part, and here's why. Coming to the year, what you and I and Chris did our predictions, we did our over-unders. I think we all agreed their window was shut for your start.
What? Well, no.
I certainly know
you
I was
really like the over still. I remember.
I like the over. I thought
I hated that line.
No. Right. But, no. What I said though was that yes, they'll win the amount of games they need to win to get over the hump. But once the playoffs start, they'll flame out in the playoffs.
Okay.
The championship window was closed.
All right.
You get KD. Obviously, you give a lot of depth to get him. You get KD. You reopen the window by 2-3 years, because obviously his contract has another 3 years left on it, 3-4 years, something like that. Okay. And I didn't go with the media on this. The narrative when he got there saying, "Oh, well, Kevin Durant makes him the favorites in the West." I texted this all. I told you they're probably one of the favorites in the West. I'll give you that. But are they the definitive favorites? No. Because number one, is KD staying healthy? Is Ayton bought in? Is Chris Paul staying healthy? I'll give you one of the favorites, but to say it's a failure now is all about how your expectations were. It was never. My point was, it wasn't title or bust for me this year. Next year is title or bust.
When you rattled that off, all I heard was but. You know what? The Nuggets, the Warriors, Curry could roll an ankle and that's it. Murray could go down with a knee issue, Porter a back issue, but everyone's got butts, and they figure out a way.
But you're asking a team to on moment's notice, and Durant didn't come back till the last 8 games of the season.
Again,
I didn't see, me personally. I didn't run with the narrative though. Everybody else did. I did not.
Have KD and Chris Paul ever played together? The Olympic team. They've had time.
All-Star games, maybe. That's about it.
They've had time. Devin Booker, KD, they play together. Yeah, Olympics, All-Star games. They've had interactions. We keep getting told all you need are walkthroughs now in practice. All you gotta do is just be on the court for shoot arounds. So
I mean, I get it. I totally get it.
I I have to take them at the word that they're basketball savants. They love the game, and they can figure it out together.
Yeah, but again, I push back on that. I think the reason why also too is that I thought people just pencil them in is winning the West automatically was a disrespect to Denver, a disrespect to Golden State, a disrespect to teams like those who have camaraderie, who have all that ready to go. Look, it was never a telebus for me this year. Next year, when they be able to rebuild. Now here's where we get to the meat and potatoes of this whole situation with the Suns. How do they rebuild their roster? Because here's the problem: we went through it with Golden State a couple minutes ago.
Yeah,
Phoenix has similar issues too. First things first, and I think you and I agree on this. They got to move on from DeAndre Ayton. Move that contract. Find a way, some way, somehow.
I mean, I threw out an idea. I would go Western Conference right to Golden State. I'd be like, hey, you need some size, and we need a guy who can take a shot.
You know what's sad about the Ayton thing, though? It has nothing to do with his play, his attitude.
Yeah.
The Ayton is due 32-4 next year, 34 the year after, and then his final year in 2 years at 35-5.
Yeah. So odds are they're gonna go right back to Indiana and try and work out a trade this offseason because they couldn't trade him during the trade deadline because you have to be with the team for a year after an extension.
I thought they should let Indiana sign him. They should have matched the offer sheet. I was saying it from day one.
Absolutely.
I think we all said that. I think you and I all said that. It was not smart. But at the time, we didn't know. But at the time, I understood why he did it because at the time, there was no Kevin Durant to worry about at the time. it was that we need to keep our assets and figure out a way to win.
So you thought the idea was to make a panic move instead of sticking to your guns, making the decisions that you had made, and just letting him walk.
And not only that, it's the same issues last year. Attitude last year, same thing this year. Nothing changed. You saw the clues there. You should have known.
Exactly. So again, that decision to actually sign him to that contract was a panic move, and it set them back. So I don't know how anyone can say that's what they had to do. They were doing the right thing, and then they panicked and backpedaled.
Right. And then and now you have the other issue now is Chris Paul. The other elephant in the room, Chris Paul. All right. His contract now is interesting. His contract is partially guaranteed until June 28th. If he's still on the roster by June 28th, after that, it's not fully guaranteed. And he's also getting paid a lot of money. In fact, he's getting paid, I'm looking at it right here, $30 million, $30.8 for the next 2 years. 30.8 this year and 30.8 next year.
What's the partial?
I think it's half.
Oh, it would be half?
I think it's half.
I cut him.
I don't know the rules on that.
Why not cut him and try and re-sign him to the veteran minimum?
I don't know the rules on that. I know they could do that.
Why not? You're saying if he's on the roster by the 28th, he gets the whole amount. So you can cut him, and then he's a free agent, and you could offer him the veteran minimum and be like, look, you can play with KD and Devin, and you'll know we're serious because we'll move Ayton because we know you don't like him.
The likelihood is that he'll probably get bought out. It's the same thing as cutting him, but bought out. The problem is you're going to buy out $60 million. That's a lot of money to buy out, though. But again, also it's complicated too because the way the contract's written too.
So hold on, is his contract next year partially guaranteed?
Partially guaranteed.
Yeah, so they don't have to buy him out. If they wait till the 28th, that gets guaranteed. They'd have to cover that amount and the partial guarantee for next year. If they cut him before the 28th, they only owe that 15. And then they owe no more of that contract. So cut
But
him. And
there's also another year in this contract too. Also, not this the next year, but the following year too. Also,
yeah,
which is also partial guaranteed as well, I believe.
but that can't be even guaranteed if he's cut from the year before.
Right. I don't know the actual rules on that. If they can do that and it's off the books, and I know how it works exactly, but it's complicated. But all in all, they got questions to answer. Now, here's where, if I'm Phoenix, I'm still feeling good about things moving forward. And I said this on the podcast a couple days ago. At least right now in this moment, and now look, there's a lot of moving parts that we're gonna see in the weeks to come as you get closer to free agency and whatnot. At least they can say, look, we have our two guys. We have two top 10 guys in the league right now on our team, and we have them for the next 2-3 years.
And so one of them stay healthy.
Yeah. Well,
because the Clippers, neither one can stay healthy. The Lakers, neither one can stay healthy.
There you go.
So having just one that can still stay healthy,
right?
That's huge.
So Phoenix is in a good situation where, like, okay, this is why I don't think it's a failure. Because their future is still, the window's still open for 2-3 years. Because at least you know for the next at least next 2 years. I think we can say that KD is still going to be a elite player for the next 2 years. We can at least go to that, assuming he stays healthy. They can at least say, we have our two guys. This is what we're banking with for the next 2-3 years. We're rolling with that. Not every team can say that. And the teams that could say that have massive questions. Lakers, health issues. Like, as good as they are, and as good as the run this is, AD can 1 minute bust his D. He's done. LeBron is old. They got questions to answer to themselves. Boston might lose Jaylen Brown. Now, look, he won the All-NBA award. We can in second. Does that mean he's eligible for the Supermax in Boston?
Have to talk about those contract situations.
Yeah. Does Boston want to offer that kind of money? And Jaylen Brown wants to get out of there. It's quite obvious. He's pissed off at Boston for how they handled the way they, the Durant thing last summer. Plus, he's not happy there at all anyway. He hates the city. He's been very vocal about that. They have questions. The Sixers, James Harden be gone, which in my opinion could be a good thing, to be honest with you. Miami's year to year. Milwaukee's doing this little weird retooling, rebuilding thing, whatever you want to call it. They got old kind of they got kind of old out of nowhere. So Phoenix is the one team right now of the elite teams or the up echelon teams in the NBA that could say, guess what? Yeah, bad ending to the year, but you know what? We have our two guys, and then you got to figure out how to retool on those guys, retool around the guys. Trade Ayton, find a way to move Ayton, and I think Ayton has value. As much as I can't stand the guy, he has value somewhere. Someone's gonna take that contract because he's too young and he's too talented enough to find one team that needs a big man. So I think Phoenix is in a good spot right now, to be honest with
you. A team can be in a good spot and it still be a failure for the season.
I mean, I get what you're saying, though. I mean, I disagree with this because, again, I think you may have had higher expectations of the Suns post-trade. I did not. I thought they were one of the favorites, not the favorites. Hey, it's what it is.
I know we were going off of my opinion from the preseason. I'm going off of that team's opinion of themselves.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it makes sense. I can see a point there. So it is what it is. All right. We know the conference finals for the West already. Denver and LA.
Yes.
We await my Miami Heat and who they're going to be playing. Who they're going to be playing. We will know tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 in the afternoon, Mother's Day. Sixers and Celtics, Game 7. Man, I think the only good thing for Philadelphia right now going is I think the extra day off, today being the extra day off from after Thursday's heartbreaker, might be a good thing for them. Because if that game was played tonight, Philly's getting smoked. And they still might get smoked tomorrow night anyway. But I think the extra day off may actually help because you need enough days to forget how that ending happened on Thursday. That is as big a gut punch. You can't ask for a better situation. You're playing a big rival. You beat them on game 5 on their home court in a blowout. You go home for a chance to clinch the series. First Eastern Conference Finals appearance in 22 years at home. And you come back in that game. Jason Tatum was having a shit game, 1 for 15 at one point, whatever we call it, and you blow it. I can't see Philly finding a way to bounce back. Again, the only thing I will say is that extra day off in between might help a little bit. We'll see. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't. The only way Philly wins is if Harden has a great game. Because Embiid has decided not to be a man and play down low.
You were critical of Embiid last week in Game 4,
I
actually.
watched every single game he has played against Boston, and he is afraid to take White or Smart down low. They will be posting him or playing his backside, and Embiid refuses to post them up down low. It is shocking to me when I see a guy who is 7 foot tall and 300 pounds and is chicken to back down a 6'3", 180-pound man. It is sad.
I agree with you about Game 4. He balled in Game 5, though. I'll say that. Game 6, he should demand the ball from Harden. Harden went solo late in that game. Embiid should demand the ball from Harden.
This series should have been over because Tatum couldn't make a shot, but Embiid will not play down low.
Philly has gotten every break imaginable to win this series. They win Game 1 without Embiid, okay? They win Game 1 without Embiid in Boston. You get home court advantage. And even after you lose the advantage in Game 3, you win Game 4, and then you steal it back in Game 5. So Philly's had every which way to win this series, and they choose not to. And guess what? The guy's overrated. I agree. Doc Rivers. He's overrated as hell. I can't put this on him, actually, what happened in that game on Thursday. You got to execute. Embiid has got to demand that ball from Harden.
Yes.
And there will be jobs on the line. If they lose this game on Sunday, Doc is done. Doc is done. He doesn't necessarily deserve to get fired, although I think he's overrated as hell. But heads will roll.
No, I think he should get fired.
Hmm.
I mean, you have to be stressing to your guy what to do. Get down low.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with him and Tucker, you should be dominating down low, just putting everyone in foul trouble so that Boston cannot play fast. But no, they don't want to play down low.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean when the Lakers beat Golden State because of a size advantage. All they had to do was play down low, put Golden State in foul trouble. I think LA took almost 70 more free throws in the series over Golden State. It was insane, the proportions.
It makes sense, though. Golden State's a shoot first team. They don't.
Yes, but when you're getting that many free points at the line and you're stopping the clock, you're slowing it down for a team that runs. That's why Embiid, play down low. We need you to play down low. Doc, wake up, pay attention, learn how to coach.
Yeah, I don't look. I'm not rooting for Boston to win this series. I don't want them to win this series, but I just don't see any way. And look, Jason Tatum's not shooting that bad again in a game. He's not shooting that bad again. He's not going 1 for 13 again.
Are you serious? Have you looked at this series for him? It's atrocious.
Yeah, but he go 113 going to the fourth quarter. I don't see that happening again.
He started out 1 for 8 3 games ago.
I was having in Game 7. Speaking of Tatum, though, and I brought this up on social media a couple of days ago, and I'm not sure you got involved in that conversation, but I'll bring it up anyway. So I made a statement on after Game 4 or 5 this week, where I said that basically to preface it, Jason Tatum to me is top 5 talent. But if you ask me to put him in top 5 players in the league right now, currently, I can't do this yet. He's almost there, but I can't do this. There's something that he's missing. I know what it is, and I said in my statement that if you gave Jason Tatum, Jimmy Hart, Jimmy, think about wrestling. Jimmy Butler's grit and heart that he'd be the best player in basketball. Because Tatum does not demand the ball enough. Tatum is not aggressive enough, in my opinion, as a number one guy. And I think that holds him back from being truly an all-time great, potentially. What do you think about that?
I don't think he's meant to be all time great.
But a number one guy, a top 5 guy in the league, in other words.
Like, down the road, will he get to be in the top 100 of the first 100 years? Yeah, I think he's going to.
Yeah.
All right. I think his early trajectory, it's already put him in there. And if he were to ever get a ring, it's a guarantee, a top 100 NBA history. And then you're going to analyze and he'll be top 50 just because of how the game has changed. So he's going to have a legacy. But is he an all-time great?
Not right now.
I think by year 7, you've already become that man who demands the ball.
So let me ask you a question then. Is Jason Tatum right now a top 5 player in the league for you?
He's 5 or 6.
He's in the cusp. So that's what I'm saying. Because I got into a couple people. Go ahead.
Okay. There's Jokic at 1.
Whatever order, doesn't matter.
No, that's how it is.
No.
After these playoffs, it's proving
Jokic, Giannis.
how great. It's Jokic, Giannis, and
Steph's still there.
Steph is 3 for me because how he changes the dynamic of every team.
Still today.
So when you can have that kind of force where you pull in a defense and Draymond can score 20 in a playoff game, come on, you're pretty special. And then I put Embiid at 4.
Okay.
So 5 or 6 is Tatum, and
Yeah. So like I said, you look at top. So like not any order because I haven't. Like obviously Jokic will probably even the 1 or 2 at this point for me when I do my list next year. He's no matter how the season ends, he's been so fantastic that no matter what I slice it. So my top 5 would be those same guys. Now look, Tatum was a top 10 guy. I know how you slice it. He was a slug top 10 guy. At number 8, I think comes to the year, and he's going to move up in the list, obviously. But to me, I have a hard. To me, I think the big problem with Tatum for me is I have to think about it. Like he's too good for me to have to think about it. Like I guess wait, maybe is he top 5? Maybe I don't know. Like the guys you mentioned there, Giannis and Jokic, I don't have to think about that shit. And by the way, Luka in my top 5 still. I'd say Luka ahead of Tatum still. I know Luka didn't make playoffs here, but that's 5. That's 5 right there. Boom.
My 5.
That's 5 right there.
And that's why I didn't want to say, yeah, Tatum's my 5. You
right.
feel like you're leaving it out, and then you forget the baby bird, and you're like, yep. Yeah. But it's not bad to be leading the next group of men.
Right. No. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that you just give him the grit of a Jimmy Butler, for example, he's clearly better than Jimmy Butler as a talent. No one's going to question that. But Butler has more grit and heart than Tatum does. You give him Butler's grit and heart. Tatum is an easy top 2 or best player in basketball.
You say that. You give me take Curry and you give Curry Tatum size, and you know what he is?
The greatest player of all time.
The greatest.
Better than Michael Jordan. Yeah, absolutely.
Because right now he's one of the all-time greatest at 6'3". And now you put him in the size of everybody else. Oh, so we're not doing put this in anybody. It's still special to be number 6 in the league.
No, I agree.
It's just not special anymore to be number 17 and fading fast.
Oh, we're getting there. Are we going there now? 17. LeBron, stop. No, but that's all I'm saying. Like Tatum was a little bit frustrating for me. A little bit frustrating because of that. Like he should be your top 5 player, but I don't have to think about that anymore.
But here's the wild thing.
Yeah.
All right. We're looking at Tatum, and he's kind of gets the slightest bit of disrespect because we know he has Jaylen Brown on the team. Whereas Luka doesn't have another guy. But if we really put those two guys up against each other, Tatum's done more, right? And
He's certainly accomplished more. There's the
gotta
finals,
give
yeah.
that kind of leadership some respect. He has been able to guide his team much further.
I mean, I was to put Luka of him. Tatum's for me is number 6, probably.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm fighting for right now.
He's in the clutcher now, but he's on the fridge. But again, he's frustrating for me because again, he should be someone that I think of as top 5 player and not have to worry about ranking him. He's somewhere in the 5. Now he's not there. He's almost there. He's in the fringe. I have Luka, Jokic, Giannis, like you said. And before this playoffs, I had KD in top 5. He's not there anymore, obviously, but well, obviously with that our top list that we do every year on this podcast, every season, top 25. Like I said, that's gonna be some major shakeups on my list, definitely in my top 10, because you're gonna have D-Book in there, in my top 10 this year.
Yeah,
you're gonna have some guys being removed that wasn't there last year.
I think the real question might be, does Fox break top 10?
Oh, breaking news! Monty Williams just got fired.
You had to see that coming.
Well, kinda, because I saw what happened with the front office yesterday.
It's all new ownership, so it's going to be all new things. Man, Mateen Cleaves is going to be up there controlling that team real soon.
Yeah, there's new ownership. Yeah, and I mean, look, he'll have a job ASAP. He's a great coach.
Yeah,
but
that whole front office is going to be filled with former Michigan State players.
But yeah, regardless of who comes out of the East, in the Boston Philly series, I like that team over Miami in 6. Look, I'm a fan. Obviously, I'm a Heat fan. I'm not going to sit here and wax poetic, but look, what at this point, everything right now they're doing is from this point on, past the New York series, is house money. There's no way they should have been this far in this playoff run, considering how this season went. This team was literally 5 minutes from losing to Chicago Bulls in a play-in game. Okay, so let's be real about that.
Yeah.
So if they somehow pull off this upset over Philly or Boston, but let's be real here, Philly or Boston is clearly better than Miami. Without question. The only advantage Miami has over any team in the playoffs left, including the West Coast teams, is coaching. Coaching. That's it. Coaching. Eric Spoelstra is the best coach of basketball. That it is no longer an argument. I might even mean a home run anymore. Because I used to always say, well, maybe he's top 3, top 2, whatever. The discussion's over. He is the best coach in basketball.
Remaining in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, look, we'll say Pop because Pop is the legacy play. But I'm talking about right now of
yeah, because also who does Pop have playing for him right now?
No. I'm not knocking Pop. I think Pop is the greatest coach of all time. Period. In my opinion.
I'm just
Pop
saying,
will get from me.
Miami got some talent, okay?
6 undrafted players, buddy. Come on now. 6 and by the way, this has been the blueprint for this team for the last fucking 6-7 years. Post LeBron is finding undrafted players and find a way to make them play well within the system.
Did have LeBron, Wade, Bosh, Ray Allen, Mike Miller. I mean, he's had some fabulous players. He's got Kyle Lowry now. All right, NBA.
Kyle Lowry past his prime. Come on,
still NBA champ. So, yeah, you got a lot of undrafted players who exceed expectations on your team. But let's not pretend you don't have talent on your team.
I mean, you got Jimmy Butler and you got Bam Adebayo, who's a good player. I mean, yeah, they
had Tyler all season. He's a pretty good player. He's a top.
I just think this roster, any other coach with this roster, doesn't take this team to a conference finals. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think it takes a lot of breaks.
Well, they got no lucky in the first round with Milwaukee. Yeah, I agree.
What? How many minutes did Giannis play the first 3 games?
He played the first quarter. That's it.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a big break.
That's true.
Drew Holiday, he does what he always does in the playoffs.
shrinks.
So,
So you disagreed with my Spoelstra's take?
Oh, as far as remaining in the playoffs, absolutely.
Okay. Is he at least top 3 coach all time in the league right now? Total?
Well, you disrespect Steve Kerr so much.
I know. Steve Kerr's right next to him.
Yeah, I think Steve Kerr's in front of him.
Although Darvin Ham did coach him this series, though. I will say that.
Did he? Or was there no size because of your GM?
That GM that brought 4 titles in 8 years.
And
I
they
don't know.
always had some size, didn't they? They always had size on all those title runs.
So,
Last year when they beat Boston, they didn't have to worry about size because they were the same size.
well, regardless, Boston or Philadelphia, whoever they meet in the first
Yeah.
in this round, they're winning in 6. That's what I got. Who you got in this series? Boston or Philly?
I got
Boston.
I'll take Boston to win in 6.
Boston. Well, Boston wins. So Boston will win tomorrow, and then Boston will win in 6 with Miami.
Yeah.
Okay. Nuggets and Lakers. I feel like I say this every time I talk to the Lakers, is that when I pick the Lakers every time, it's with a fucking caveat. Every time. It's like, if they are healthy. I feel like I've been saying this like a broke record for the last 3 years now. If AD and LeBron are healthy, they will always be in the championship conversation, if not the best team in basketball.
Not in this matchup.
I want to take Denver in this series, but I have to see it. I have to see Jokic get over the hump. I have to see him get over this AD freak of nature situation.
Okay. Because I know how much you still have so much love and respect for LeBron.
You know
and
that.
you really believe AD is a top 5 guy.
AD, when healthy, is a top 3 guy in the league.
No, because health and leadership matter, and he doesn't have those to be top 5. All right. Top 10 if he was healthy, maybe.
Okay.
But leadership is something. Heart is something. And he takes nights off even when he's healthy. That's heart. But out of all of that, because of that, I'm going to just say Denver in 5.
Wow.
When I believe it will be a sweep. I think it will be a straight up 4-game sweep. There is nothing the Lakers do better than Denver at this point. They have no advantage.
I think this series is interesting because we talk about Jokic, and we talk about, Jokic against AD, we talk about LeBron and Jamal Murray. I think if Denver wins this series, it's because of Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon.
Yes. And did you see what Aaron Gordon was doing to Kevin Durant?
I saw that.
And you imagine him doing that to an old man LeBron who can't move and can't shoot?
The question is going to be, will LeBron get all the calls, though? Because the referees are going to be fucking favoring the Lakers on this series. You know that for a fact.
He ain't getting them the first 2 games. So by game 3, will he even be able to lift his arms up?
So I came into this conversation saying Lakers in 6. You're kind of sort of swaying me now to say Lakers in 7, maybe Denver in 7.
So, Ernest.
Yeah.
As I've been screaming, who was the best player the first 2 rounds of the Lakers playoffs?
AD.
AD. And why was AD able to be the best player on the court in the first 2 rounds?
He's healthy.
It was only because of health?
Well, I mean, he's a great player when healthy. We know this already.
Who was playing center for Memphis?
No Steven Adams, of course, and then, of course, no center for the Warriors. Okay, so you think Jokic is going to cancel him out?
Yes. Absolutely.
You don't think AD can shut down Jokic?
No.
Okay.
Because Jokic trying to always score.
Right.
So let him go for every ball fake up. while Jokic is passing out instead.
See, I think those two guys catch each other out. This is why I keep saying that the series is going to come down to Porter Jr. and Gordon. That's why I think those two guys catch each other out.
So what? You've got LeBron canceling out Murray, right?
I mean, yeah, or LeBron be ahead of Murray, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying the two stars are canceled out. And what do the Lakers have to even put up against Porter Jr. or Aaron Gordon?
They got the great Austin Reeves, man. Come on. No, I'm joking. No, man. I said Lakers in 6-4.
They don't have athleticism. They can't push the pace, right? Because LeBron can't run. AD can't go up and down the court.
Right.
So you can't be pushing it's a half court game, which allows Jokic to play defense and conserve his energy on offense.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you convince me. Denver in 7.
All right, you stick with the Lakers in 6. So I'm
okay. Right. We'll do that. We'll do that. All right.
That's how look. My wife's going to Vegas tomorrow, and I'm giving her money just to bet Denver to win the series and win the title. There's no team right now out there that can stop Denver.
I will say, let me say this real quick. And I know this was against a Phoenix team that was limping into Game 6. It showed me something. Not just the fact they beat Phoenix in Game 6, the way to beat Phoenix in Game 6.
Yeah,
it showed me something. And their losses, like in the playoffs, the 2 losses Phoenix, and then the 1 loss is Minnesota, all close losses. So like they're not getting blown out in these games. The games they lose are in the games.
Yeah, their biggest loss to Phoenix, within like a minute and a half of the game being over, they were tied up. So
exactly. So I don't know. Did you have any issue with the All NBA reveal? The 3 teams? Do you remember him? I have it right here if you need me to read it off.
I mean, I didn't really like Morant. Morant was second team, I think.
Yeah, no, Miranda didn't make it this year. In fact, let me for all the listeners who don't know the All NBA reveals this year. They announced last week. Yeah, here's the first team here: SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from OKC, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Embiid, of course, for first team. Second team was Steph Curry, Donovan Mitchell, Jimmy Butler, Jaylen Brown, and Nikola Jokic. Third team, De'Aaron Fox, Damian Lillard, LeBron James, Julius Randle, and Domantas Sabonis. I did my list. I reviewed my list. You saw my list weeks ago. Yeah. I went position list this time. So my list had both Embiid and Jokic on the first team. And for the record, I think
I remember that being where I was upset with, like Jokic being on the second team, yeah. And then it being Brunson, not being Brunson, and it being Randall instead.
So my list, I went position list, of course. Like I said, I had Luka, Tatum, Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic in the first team, and then the second team I had SGA, Curry. Who was I had? The difference I have look, I didn't have Randall on my list. I had Brunson on my third team actually. Instead of Randall, I think Brunson's value that team was actually as good as Randall was this year.
I think it was more,
and you saw it in the playoffs, especially too. The value of who's the better player in that team. So you had issue with Jokic in the second team, right?
Yeah.
You know why? But it makes sense. Embiid won MVP, so it makes sense why he was first team.
Okay, well, Embiid likes to play out at the 4 all the time so that he can shoot. He doesn't like to play down low. If you're gonna go that route, then it should have been the guy who was leading in the MVP candidacy all season, had the team with the best record all season. It should have been the previous 2-time winner going for a third straight instead of Giannis.
I think I took a little off my last minute.
Yeah,
I think. Let me see mine real quick.
I didn't have Lillard. I don't believe he's an All NBA player.
You're really tough on Lillard. You really are. You need to stop. I'm joking.
How many seasons has he led his team deep in the playoffs? How
No,
often does he come back injured?
I get the no. I get the argument you have up against Lillard. I totally get it.
He's one of the best scorers in the league. That's all he is to me.
I'm trying to find it now. I'm trying to find the my actual list here because it's here it is right here. I think I have it right now. So real quick, give me one quick second. So that was the list there. No. Where did they go? I just had it here. Yeah, I don't know where the hell is that. Well, doesn't matter. Anyway, doesn't matter. Don't know where I put it. Put someone else's list there. Anyway, regardless, yeah, I like I said, I for the most part the list was good. I'm more of a fan of the position list which will start next year. To me, just give me my 15 best guys, rank them, and call it a day.
Yeah.
Jokic and Embiid should both be in the first team because they both were fantastic. They were arguably the two best players of basketball. So there's no way hell Jokic should be in the second team. And I'm glad they correct that. They're gonna correct that next year. Here I found it. So my list I had Embiid, Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, and Doncic my first team. I had Donovan Mitchell, John Morant my second team, Steph Curry, SGA, and LeBron. My third team I had Jaylen Brown, De'Aaron Fox, Anthony Davis, Domantas Sabonis, and Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I know I killed you for the Anthony Davis thing. I think on my list, if I remember, I put Curry third team.
Okay.
Just because of the amount of games he had missed.
Yeah.
I know I didn't have LeBron James on there also because of the amount of games.
Because you're a hater.
No, I mean you can be great and not be an all NBA player. But we have to get respect for the guys who win and show up and play for their team and play for their fans.
I get it. All right, let's move over to some NFL talk quick. The schedule release. By the way, I love how the NFL says, "Oh, by the way, we're going to release the schedule this date on Thursday at 8:00," and then literally 48 hours prior to that, they're just leaking out games out here and there. Here's this game. Here's this game. Like, what the fuck?
Well, they leak it out, but they don't tell you what day at first, and then they leak out that these are going to be Monday night games, but
right.
You don't know which date.
Any games that stood out to you that personally, whatever, or matchups that you looking forward to that you see that's like, oh my god, this should be a big one this week? I don't know anything else. Any of those games that stood out to you? There's only one. There's one that stood out to me. I have a hot take on real quick.
I mean, I do want to see what happens this year with just the Broncos again. I want to see.
Me too.
If Russell Wilson's really done, but
yeah,
I don't get excited at schedules the way you do.
I don't either. I don't. I only care because the Giants come down here this year against Miami, and I'm not going to go because the tickets are fucking out of this world.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is, guess what? The next time they're down here, they're going to be even more insane. So you might think about doing it rather than an opportunity.
So I'm glad you mentioned Denver because it's going to kind of sort of relate to what I'm going to say about my hot take here. The one game that stood out to me more than anything else is the first Monday night game of the year. Jets Bills.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't like the fact just the Jets got so many Monday night games.
Aaron Rodgers, buddy, your boy.
I feel bad for Jets fans.
But here's the thing. I'm going to say the thing that I might have said it already on. No, I did say it on Twitter actually a couple days ago. I'm going to say it here on the podcast now. People didn't see me on social media. By the way, you can see someone on Twitter. Jets Bills for the Jets. That's a must win.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you agree? There we go. Thank you.
Oh yes, because you know what I know is Aaron Rodgers has sucked 3 years in a row out the gate. And now you're going to a new team with new receivers, and I don't care that you used to play under that offensive coach in Hackett. That is all different because now you're in New York with different receivers, different offensive line, and that's gonna matter.
And not only that, and I'm glad you said that too, by different reasons though, but those matter also too. Here's why too also. The AFC, with him going to New York, just got that much deeper.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lamar's back next year. So Baltimore's back in business. Baltimore's back in the conversation now. Now they have that squared away. You have 7 teams to make the playoffs. Okay. You need to bake in those early games early in the year. A win over the Bills, you already have a tiebreak over them for a possible division win. Okay. So your playoff teams in the AFC, the obvious ones, your Jets. Let's say the Jets are in the conversation. Let's say the Jets. Okay. This talk shit.
Yeah.
You have Dolphins, Jets, Dolphins, Bills, Bengals, Ravens, the Jaguars by virtue of winning the South no matter what. Oh, the Super Bowl champions, the Chiefs. Oh, that's 7 teams. Boom. Oh, the Chargers maybe? That's 8. Okay. Then you got to bake in also for the surprise, which you said Denver could be back on track this year.
I'm not saying they might be back on track.
No, but you have to bake in at least a surprise or two. A Steelers or a Broncos come back.
How about the Raiders with Jimmy G and the offense he started out with?
So my point is,
or Houston with CJ Stroud.
My point is, right, whether or not you win the AFC East, whether or not you get into a wild card, that's coming down to fucking tiebreakers, buddy. And you baking those wins against Buffalo early in the year,
yeah,
those are valuable. It is a must win. I know it sounds silly. Oh, it's week 1. Yeah. If you lose a playoff spot by virtue of tiebreaker, you're looking back at games you lost early in the year that you should have won. That's what's a must win. It is not a bad take. It's not at all.
I totally agree with you.
There you go. I got criticized the whole hell for saying that. But you're not in the NFC anymore. The NFC is wide open. And by the way, another hot take here. The NFC North all of a sudden just became, to me anyway, just became the most interesting division in football. Because I think, okay, the sexy pick for next year in the North is the Lions. Right. Am I wrong thinking that they're a little overvalued?
Yeah, because I do not understand their draft at all.
Thank you.
They let the guy who led their team with like 18 rushing touchdowns walk. They then traded DeAndre Swift, who's a proven running back in the league. And we're like, oh, we're going to draft a running back at 12. After your wide receiver had been suspended for gambling. When you have those kind of things, what you do not do is go on a running back. You go defense when you had one of the worst defenses for most of the season.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying they're not making the playoffs. I'm not saying they're not winning the division. I'm just saying they're a little overvalued. Minnesota was 13-4 last year, but we knew that was fluky. Minus 5-point differential.
And there's talk they're going to trade Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. The Packers are interesting. Jordan Love. What happens in that situation? The Bears are rebuilding. I'm just saying. I'm kind of
to watch though because it's Justin Fields, and it's his 3rd season, and he's starting to feel it.
And not only that,
as the game's slowing down for him.
And not only that, the bar to win the division has gotten lower. So if you tell me that Minnesota regresses, look. If you ask me who should win the division, the NFC North, it should be the Vikings. They had the best roster of the 4 teams on paper. Okay, they're the most quote unquote stable of the 4 teams. Okay.
Well, I can't remember everybody they lost on defense, so I mean, I would have to look, but.
Well, I know they traded to Darius Smith yesterday. I saw that.
And I thought Hunter walked, and
yeah,
they lost one of their safeties. So
yeah, but I don't know. I'm kind of like weirdly interested in that division this year. What does Jordan Love do? Does the Bears find a way to win 6-7 games this year and maybe get into the conversation? Because the NFC is wide open. To me, it's Philadelphia by a long shot. then in San Francisco,
And
throw
there,
in Dallas, and then that's it. Throw it in Dallas, and after that, it's wide open.
well, one, there are two teams in the West, AFC or NFC West, but who is San Fran going to use at quarterback? Is one, because Purdy may not be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You invested so much capital in a guy who has played maybe 2 actual meaningful games in 5 years now, and Trey Lance, and then you have Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
What are you really going to do at the quarterback position? And what are your, like, just seeing who comes out of there starting? And is there going to be a back and forth? Like, to me, that's exciting. But I think the Rams, if Stafford comes back healthy, they're a team that can compete at least.
To me, the only playoff guarantees at this point in the NFC is Philadelphia win the East no matter what. San Fran win the West no matter what. Okay, and then Dallas getting the wild card. That's it. And then you have like the winner of whoever wins the South in the NFC, probably the Saints.
Yeah.
By default. The NFC North, we don't know. NFC, and then you have 2 wild cards open there. Seattle Giants, who knows?
Arizona something now.
Arizona.
They got a chance, man. New coach.
Kyler Murray's out to November next year, probably.
Oh crap! I forgot about that. Yeah.
I think Seattle might be the team to look out for. Also,
yeah,
they had a good draft too.
They had a great draft.
Yeah. So, but the point is, the NFC's wide open. That's what I'm saying. And next time, and I think again, I think that game, Jets Bills, is a must win for the Jets. I'm sorry. Yeah, people, hot take. No, it's not a real hot take. We look at the environment of the AFC. Like I said, you have 8, 9 teams that could get in the playoffs, maybe 10 if teams bounce back. That's what I'm saying. But there is also a good news for you, Mr. Washington Commanders fan. The end of Daniel Snyder is near. Oh, it's here, should I say? They agreed in principle yesterday to Daniel Snyder selling the team. Was it Josh Harris? Was the name of the guy? Josh Harris.
Nets owner.
Is whose owner?
That's the Nets owner.
Right. Okay. That group.
Or not the Nets, the 76ers.
Right.
76ers.
Right. So the Snyder years are coming to an end. Finally. Yeah. Any thoughts?
Well, I remember when just 3 short years ago, my Florida Marlins got sold to a team for $1.2 billion. And I thought, oh, they're finally going to start spending money on players and bringing in real talent. And then you know what happened? Daniel Snyder took a $6 billion offer right before the draft. And I thought, I might have an owner that might, spend some money on real players and go for it. And he had a chance. He could have done what like Matashiba, or however you pronounce his name for the Suns, just did with the Kevin Durant trade.
I mean, Jokic is a sparring partner.
He could have made an offer to Lamar Jackson to bring in a real quarterback at the quarterback position for the Redskins or for the Commanders. And what did he do? Nothing. Nothing happened. We are sitting with the absolute worst quarterback in all of the NFL, who will be our opening day starter.
Sam Howell.
So you know what I got from the new ownership group? I got a big FU to the fans who said, we are going to tank our first year out.
So you don't sound too happy about Snyder being gone?
Oh, I'm happy Snyder's gone, but it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon.
Well, I guess we shall see how things play out.
Yeah, I gotta hope Caleb Williams, has another great season at USC, and we get the number 1 pick and draft him.
Yeah, definitely gonna see a lot of tank with Caleb going on this year. That's definitely gonna be the theme this year. Tank with Caleb, he's good. He's really good. One last thing to get you out of here. Politics related. We like to dabble in politics as well. We were talking off the year about Florida politics and Ron DeSantis, who is actually still technically not in, has not declared for president, but he's made some decisions here for me that even as a, whether you agree or disagree with his politics or like him or hate him, we voted for him, whatever. As a person that follows politics like sports, I find myself scratching my head for some things he's done lately. Positions he's taken that would seem foolish for someone that has aspirations to be on a national stage on policies that are obviously not popular on national stage, even with Republicans. Abortion, none of that stuff.
I disagree there.
Okay, go ahead. What is he doing? What is he doing? First off, what is he doing?
I mean, if we're just going off the state legislature that has passed bills and he signed into law this year, the most recent, he targeted one specific union group, right? Education, the teachers union. He targeted them and made it so that teachers now have to mail in their dues. Right. No other union membership in the state of Florida has to do that. He didn't make it more difficult on police officers to pay their union dues, did he? No. Didn't do it to firefighters. Didn't do it to nurses, hospital workers. Didn't do that to anyone else. Only teachers. Next, to prove that he's not political, he just signed a bill that will allow you to deny coverage when you're going into the hospital. Oh, he might look gay. She might look lesbian. Oh, it might be transgender. Oh, that's a young girl pregnant. If you have a religious, a moral, or ethical choice, you can now deny someone care, life-saving care. But that's not political. No. This is a man who is bringing us together. He is a man that is for the people. And so you know what he did next for people? Just a little time before that, he said, hey, ladies, 20 weeks in this state is too long for an abortion.
He was at 16, I think, at one point.
And you know, we talked 15, 16 weeks. But, ladies, that's too long. Really? If you missed your first period after you had sex, you know, it's really on you to go out and get that birth control or go get that test and check and find out if you're just 4 weeks and 1 day over. Because if you get to 6, you're fucked.
And most people don't even know they're friends to the fucking 8 weeks that he's in.
And you know what? Say you are after 6 and you're willing to turn in your molesting parent, or you're willing to turn in the rapist. You can get up to 16 weeks. But after that, unless you are literally about to die, that mother can no longer choose whether or not to have that child born.
And this is what I find out, because look.
And we also need to talk about the size at 6 weeks. We are talking about something the size of a lima bean. To pretend that something the size of a lima bean has the same rights and same decision power as the mother alive is insane to me.
And this is what I'm trying to figure out here, politically speaking, because we saw this play out in the midterms last year. And look, I doubted it. Remember, we came on the show to discuss this, that I thought we'd see a red wave. I thought because of inflation, because of gas prices, that we wouldn't, even these issues like gun control and the women's rights issue that after, post Roe v. Wade overturned last May, that, inflation will dominate the midterms, and we saw women's rights once again become front and center. You see in states like Kansas, very red states, not allowing pro right, right wing, politics be the thing there in terms of that single issue. So my question is this: if you're Ron DeSantis and you're trying to, again, he hasn't declared to be run for president, but that is the optics that he's positioned himself to run for president for 2024, and yet you're embracing these, regardless of how you feel personally, embracing these far right policies that the majority, 2/3 of the country don't agree with. Even Republicans, don't agree. Not far right Republicans. That's what like moderate Republicans don't agree with.
I disagree.
Okay, what's disagreement
With
on
the
that?
moderate. Okay, so we barely touched the surface of some of the laws he signed in.
Right.
But like me and the wife were in the Keys a couple months ago, and bunch of people from New Jersey and New York were down celebrating some woman's birthday.
Yeah.
And they were glowing about Ron DeSantis. And it was all because of the COVID. Oh, he kept it open, unlike our governor
Right.
up north. So those Republicans, they don't care one iota because the national news hasn't brought it to the attention. All the laws he has been signing in restricting people's freedoms down here.
No, but Zach, I agree with you on that. Again, the abortion law, if he's running against Joe Biden or whoever it was, it'll be Joe Biden, obviously. Let's say hypothetically he wins the nomination and against Trump, which is not going to happen. Trump's going to win the nomination. Let's be real about that. Yeah. All the Democrats can do is say, listen, you may not like how Joe Biden does anything, but this guy believes in 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, women's rights, against women's rights. Yeah. We saw the midterms that matters. You even told me that it matters. I said I doubted you, remember? And it mattered in the midterms. Why couldn't it matter in a general election if he was hypothetically the nominee for the Republican Party?
Because you're talking popular vote, right?
Yeah.
How the percentage of the population, right? Well, guess what? Republicans haven't won the popular vote but one time since 1988.
Yeah, 2004.
Yeah, and we were in 2 wars so that he could be a popular president.
And he barely won that vote for the record. It's scary.
Yeah.
And I voted for Bush in that election for the record. You and I used to fight about that all the time, remember?
Yeah. So they don't need to win the popular vote to be in office.
Right.
And he's smart enough to fight back with the 6-week thing and say, hey, I didn't ban it like some of these people wanted me to do. So that's
where feels like, yeah.
That's where he'll play. I honestly don't think he could win a national election, but to think that he needs to win the popular vote, no.
A lot of people think that prior to the last couple of weeks of the polling was showing beforehand. Now this has changed in the last month with Trump now surging in the nomination on his side. But there was polling that suggested early on, back in February and March, that head to head, Joe Biden, the DeSantis actually pulled better against Joe Biden, and then Joe Biden pulled better against Trump head to head. So there's a fear on the Democratic side that Ron DeSantis is the one you should be fearing because he will pull more moderates and more, slightly lean left Dems to his coalition in the event he wins the nomination.
He's gone hard right so that he could win the primary, so that he is the nomination, and then it's just a crapshoot on how many people show up and how many disenfranchised voters get turned away at the polls, have their polls closed early, have not enough ballots so that they can cast their vote.
Yeah.
So that's what he's counting on, and they work so hard to do that.
Yeah.
You can. I think everyone agrees you should have a photo ID to vote, but you know what? You should also have polling places everywhere. You shouldn't have 7 polling places open in one little white community where there's 500 people living, and then have one polling place in a black community where there's 10,000 people living. Like, having that mismatch kind of prevents all the votes from being counted. When you pick up the ballot boxes so that people can't drop off a ballot because they felt too disabled because they're 85 years old and use a walker to stand in line for 5 hours, you take away that ballot drop box. Well, you're disenfranchising voters who probably care about health care.
Yeah.
It was very easy. When we just had Rudy Giuliani proudly admit that he rigged an election by putting out flyers that said that they would have the border and custom agents at polling places checking to see if you were legal or illegal to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in 1991. All right. They will do anything to cheat.
Well, we'll see. It's gonna be a fascinating. We still got another like year and a half before the election. I mean, this Biden's term is on fast. I'll tell you what. I didn't think Trump could win 2024, but man, I don't know. What how do you feel about Biden's chances now that he's actually in the race now?
Well, I mean,
You're not even a Biden guy for the record, so
no, but right now Trump would lose to Biden because we know how the country feels, and we saw how he acts, and we've seen how he acted after. So we know he'll lose to Biden, and if DeSantis becomes the nomination, he's gone too hard right, so he would still lose to Biden. Do Democrats want Biden to run? No, I certainly don't want him to run.
right.
I've told you who I'd be happy to see run.
On the
Bernie.
right hand side,
No, for a Democrat.
Ro Khanna.
Ro Khanna.
Well, I like Ro Khanna a lot actually. I like Ro Khanna.
Bernie Sanders. So
what is how do you feel about that's what's what got here? How do you feel about the Democrats not allowing a primary? Like you have RFK Jr. How do you feel about RFK Jr. and his antics and
I would vote for RFK Jr. We still have to have a primary vote, even if they do away with the debate. We still have to do a primary vote.
yeah.
I would vote for Jr. right now over Biden because of this bullshit.
And Marianne Williams is another Democratic nominee that wants to be primary Biden.
Yeah.
I don't know any RFK Jr.'s positions really other than the anti-vax thing. I don't know anything about politically what's his. He's being painted as this weird MAGA Democrat MAGA guy. I don't know. I can't speak on that.
He's huge anti-war. He's against the deep state because he certainly believes the CIA killed
his uncle.
His uncle, and even kind of believes they might have killed his own father. And then, so he's very skeptical of he believes in small government. He does actually believe in a welfare state as far as, Social Security and Medicare. He believes there should be a single payer system.
Oh, okay. So he's for universal healthcare. Okay.
He's famous for being an anti-vaxxer because of the whole autism thing.
Right.
Which this is what I always find funny about them. They want to act like the heavy metal used, like mercury, that used to be used in some vaccines, is what causes autism. But to believe that the rotting, rusting old lead pipes in every major city has no effect on a child's brain development. Like, they might be getting autism at a higher rate because of heavy metals in the brain, but it might not be from one little vaccine shot or all the multiple vaccines. It might be because so much of our water is tainted. Because we don't even allow the EPA to keep our water safe.
Yeah.
But he's skeptical on the vaccines all the vaccines leading to autism. And he's skeptical about the amount of vaccines children need and how soon they need them.
Well, I learned today with you now what some of his political positions are. Interesting. He's actually more far left than people give him credit for.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you're an anti-vaxxer, I thought you were supposed to be far left. Up until
But there's a lot of Republicans I know that actually like him. A lot of MAGA Republicans that actually like him.
Up until COVID, every anti-vaxxer was a liberal. They were the ones that didn't want to get their kids measles shots and shit.
Right. What a weird country we've become. What weird realignment is going on. People don't know what the fuck they think anymore, and it's weird. It's really weird.
We're
really, really
dumber.
Huh?
We're just getting dumber. We're getting dumber because you don't have to know the answer. You just have to know how to look up the answer now.
Yeah. And that's where we'll end it there. Zach, good job as always, man.
Yeah, man. Had lots of fun.
That was awesome.